Hello everybody, this is Janelle from Batty Bloomers again, and I wanted to show you how I make my Christmas wreaths. So I had showed you in the last video that I showed you all the trees I was going to pick greens from. There's a couple that I didn't pick from because these are to sell, and my ice blue cypress and my euonymus out front are not quite big enough to do all the wreaths, so I'm just going to use the ones that I have the most, that I can harvest the most off of for the wreaths to sell. And then I can show you what the wreath that I make for my door looks like, because it will look a little different, but I just want to show you how I set everything up and what I have here, all my materials. Sorry for the really brightness of everything. This is cedar, so I cut some fresh cedar, and this is a good green for wreaths because it's fluffy, and you need something fluffy as opposed to the cypress here that is flat, which it is pretty in a wreath, but it doesn't give it any dimension. So you do need something fluffy, and that cedar works pretty well for a fluffy agent. And then, of course, white pine just gives it a different texture altogether. And then I also cut some cherry laurel, and this just looks so cool. It gives it just a different look, almost like bay leaves in a wreath, and it's not something you see often, and I just love the way it looks. And then also I have my red twig dogwoods here, my curly willows here, and I also make bows. Now here's a bows from leftover from last year that are a little flat. I have to fluff them out. And I have more ribbon here, some plaid and different colors there. Of course, my water bottle, that's most important. And I sell my bows for $2, and my wreaths I sell for $15. And I think that's a pretty competitive price compared to all the places like the greenhouses and whoever would sell wreaths. Are usually more expensive than that for just a plain wreath. I also use these wreath forms from the Dollar Tree, or if I can find them at a thrift store for 50 cents, you know, that's a great deal too. I need to get more of these. But so yeah, those, and I also use zip ties to tie my bunches of greens on my wreath form. So I'll show you how I do that here in a second. And I'm getting low on zip ties too, I see. I need to get more of those. Yeah, alright, so I'm going to have my cameraman hold the camera for me while I show you exactly what I do to create a wreath. Okay, here we go. Here, cameraman. Just watch out, this lens is over here. You don't want to cover it with your hand. So, alright, let me get my gloves on. And I have my piles. If you can see my different piles, that's so that I can find the green I need when I'm working. Otherwise, and it'll get messy really quickly here, but, no wait, where'd my, oh, here they are. So anyway, that's why I have the different piles, so that I can easily find the different kinds of greens that I want to work with. So what I do is I start with the fluffy green, the cedar, and I just add to it and make like a little bouquet. So I'll take a little bit of white pine, a little bit of the cedar, and a little Leland cypress. Hold on, gotta get this cut. And a little cherry laurel. And I just make like miniature bunches with these items, kind of like that. And, oh, I should probably let's do some red twig dogwoods with this one because they're festive and bright. Do one of these. Alright, kind of like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, but... And then I just lay it against my wreath form. And you can see there's 4 wires. I zip tie it to the middle 2 wires. If you do it to the outside 2, now I might have been doing it wrong. Last year I was using this dented in part to sit everything in, but I think you're supposed to use it this way. So I'm going to try it this way this year. And I was tying it to the middle 2 because if you do it to the outer 2, it's too loose. It was too loose and they would just fall out. But anyway, I'm using the inside. Maybe it'll be different this year, but I'm going to still do the middle 2 just to make sure it's good and tight. And you just kind of arrange it how you like it to look. And then I'm going to grab a zip tie. See if I have this right here. And I want to stick it in there. You can just kind of work things if it's not exactly how you like it. And then you want to pull it really tight. And usually I end up going to my parents. They have a lot of acreage and we planted some trees there some years ago because we were going to have a tree farm, a Christmas tree farm, because we lived close to them at the time. Well, we ended up moving, not far away, but farther than we were. And so we decided it just was too far for us to try to go back and forth to have a tree farm. So we have trees that we planted over there, plus my parents also have trees of their own, Norway spruces and different pine trees there that I usually go collect greens from. But this year, because our white pines had gotten so big, I didn't have to go over there. I have plenty of white pines that I collected from our own pine trees, and I can go collect more if I need more, which I may need more, but for now what I have is great, so that's pretty neat. And you can see these branches are not very big. You know, I have a ton of these, and these are also good because they're flat. These and white pines are really good to make a garland, and I did that last year. I think I made a video of it, and I'll do that again. I'll make a garland again this year. I don't know if I'll make another video, but I'll definitely make another garland this year because I love garlands and they're so expensive to buy. I love them, but they just, if I can make it myself, well, I'll do that. And also, this is something, if you have greens on your property, you can do this. It's not hard. You know, these wreath forms you can get, like I said, at the Dollar Tree for $1. Or even at thrift stores. If you keep your eyes open, you can find them at thrift stores. So anybody can do this. You just make these little bunches. It's fun. I really enjoy it. I used to be a florist, so this is something I just enjoy anyway. But it's a lot of fun. So know that you can do it too. And here I'm making my second bunch. And now what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to lay it over my first bunch. I want to cover that, but you don't want to go too far up. Let me show you an example here. If I go too far up, I mean, I could do it that close, but I want to use as little of these as I can, especially since I'm getting kind of low. So I do kind of pull it out a little bit, and I see that I need to flip around some of these greens here. That's another thing I try to do. I try to make sure that I have the white pine on this side, so now I want to alternate it and put it out here. In this next bunch I want it out here, and then you have the cedar in here, whereas on this back bunch it's up here. So that's what I am attempting to do, and I see that I might need to cover my wire is sticking out just a bit, so I think I'll add another bit of cedar to this bunch. A little more white pine. These bunches can be as big or as small as you wish. So that's something to think about. And I'm seeing I need a little more on the inside here. Just want to make sure these wreaths that I'm going to sell look really good. I don't want to make them look skimpy or anything like that. So, all right. Put the zip tie on here if I can get it on. All right, and I just pull it on there, not completely tight, in case I see something I want to move around, like just here, move that, just to give it kind of a little fluff, and then I tighten it the way, when I like the way it's looking. And then of course at the end, when you have everything on, you clip off the tails. And I'm just going to keep continuing to do that the whole way around. And we'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. I'll do one more bunch for you so you can just see how it's done. And then we'll come back when it's finished and I'll show you what it looks like. So let's just do one more bunch. Here, I think this one will work. Oh, I need some red twigs. And what am I missing? 1, 2, 3. Oh, this. Yeah. Cedar. Cypress. I'm missing some cypress. Put some of that in the front here. I do try to make sure my red twigs are kind of pointed, their curve goes in, so that they're not sticking out and it looks like a crazy thing. Of course, I do kind of like that crazy look too, but I don't know that many people do. I'm just a little strange. So, all right, let's see how this is going to look. Put this on here. All right, you see my wire edge is sticking out. I need to fix that. So let me get some of this fluffy stuff here. Put that in. Turn my red twigs in a little bit. And I need another zip tie. Oops. Sometimes it's a little hard to get the zip tie around your bunch. You want to make sure it looks nice before you tighten it. Okay. And we will come back and show you what it looks like when it's all finished. And yeah, then we'll show you the finished product. And maybe we'll show you what it looks like with a bow laid on top of it also. All right, we'll be right back. So I wanted to show you, before I showed you the finished product, the last bunch that you put on the wreath, because I think that's the trickiest part about making a wreath. I've been laying these little bunches over top of one another and zip tying them to the frame. And now we're at the end, and I have one more spot I need to fill in. I forgot to also tell you that to trim these so that they're not sticking out. And another thing, a little tip that I'm learning as I go here. I've done this a long time, but you know, these little things, sometimes you don't learn them until later. But to pull these pretty tight, but not so tight that you can't stick a couple branches in, because I'm finding that if I see the wire frame sticking out anywhere, If these aren't super tight, I can stick a few more branches right where I want them, and it covers up the wire frame. So that's a little tip. And to wait to cut the tail off till you have it exactly how you want it and the wire frame is covered and everything. So let me show you the last bunch that I put in here, which I think, like I said, is probably the most tricky part of a wreath. And it's not terribly tricky, but you know, a little bit maybe. So just gather my stuff, and you can see everything's starting to mix now because I try to keep it neat, but it becomes messy. And little pieces like this that you don't think much of, that you think you could throw out. I have little wreaths that I decorate for my cupboards in my kitchen, and these little pieces are perfect for that, so I save those. So I use as much as I can out of these cuttings that I take. Alright, some red twigs. Put those there. Let's see. That there. Just making sure I have enough to work with here and make a bunch. So now I'm going to put it together. I may have cut some of these a little too short. Here. Yeah, I might need a couple longer pieces. Something like that. And maybe one more of the cherry laurel. I really love the look that cherry laurel gives. I think it looks, I don't know, Mediterranean or something. It has just a different look. Alright, now, so here's my bunch. I'm going to move this stuff out of the way so you can see what I'm doing here. You have to stick this bunch in here. You want it underneath the other bunch. So about like that, I think will work. Let me get my zip tie here. Make sure I have the right side of the zip tie. Okay, I'm losing my stuff here. Hard to work with gloves on, but if I don't wear gloves, my hands get all sappy. And I don't necessarily like having sticky hands, so I'll deal with the gloves. Alright. Now I've put that on there, and I hope I didn't put it too tight, because now you can kind of just yank this and it pulls the whole bunch where you need it. And then fluff it. And turn your, like I've been turning my red twigs. Let's see if I can show you here. Sort of like that. Taking the bottom of the stems and turning them so they kind of aren't sticking out too much out of the wreath. Alright, now I think I just dropped something that belongs in this here. Alright, and then you want to kind of fluff the one you put it underneath, fluff that out. And that's basically it. My first bunch is always the smallest, so that would be a great place to put a bow, because as I go I use more greens and make them bigger and fluffier. So we'll pick this gold bow and I'll just set it here so you can see what it would look like. These are wired ribbon so that you can fluff them up. I love how sparkly it is. And, you know, fix it up nice. And then I did use wire to tie it together. And then what I could do, if I was going to put a bow on here, I would just wire tie it there. And that would be the finished product. So yeah, thanks for watching.